On February 4th, The Minds of Madness is set to release an investigative 4-part series centered on a cold case from nearly 4 decades ago.
At first, it was just my mom's gone. And then it became, your mom was taken by a bad man.
They found video of him killing women.
If you'd ever watched any episodes of Breaking Bad, that's exactly what you would see.
He buried these 11 women and kept going out there. He made a road going out there.
You got this dude saying, hey, I'm going to show your family these pictures. And, he's secretly taping her.
The cops don't care. We're nothing to them.
Dumped her like a piece of garbage,
I don't see anything that screams there's 2 people doing this.
I never thought anything was going to come of this case. Ever.
Listen to the Minds of Madness series, Who Killed Jennifer, starting February 4th, wherever you get your podcasts.
Come into the shop, ding dong on our bell, call us up.
If we're the shop, can it be the kind with 2 P's and an E? I feel like we can pull that off.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah, for sure. Ye old investigative shop.
Yeah, the Dick shop.
Yeah. It's 3 a.m. The Dicks are all sleeping on their cots in their offices.
I'm not. I just stare at the wall.
You're staring at the wall?
Are you guys spooning?
Yeah.
Or we're all in the same cot. Me and Rick are in the same cot, and you're upset.
Yeah, I feel like it's good for camaraderie, I think.
Okay, perfect.
Picture me standing in the corner like that one guy at the end of Blair Witch.
Rick and Richard are snuggling on the cot, sleeping soundly, and RJ is smoking a cigarette oddly, watching them in the corner. Then the phone rings. Or you can kick in the door, whatever you want to do, Doug. You want to kick in the door?
I'm gonna kick in the door and also ring.
That's okay. Good, because we exclusively do in-person appointments at 3 a.m.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Do you kick the door and then reach back out and hit the doorbell, or do you hit the doorbell and then kick the door in?
I got us one of those bells inside. I have it on the desk.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Perfect.
Yeah, it's the fun little thing like that. That's what I got there.
Okay, the bell woke me up. The door kick didn't, but the bell did.
But I want you guys at your most emotional state as well. That's why this is happening at 3 a.m. I want everyone to react as emotionally as possible. That's why I'm here at this time.
See, I feel you're gauging this wrong. You want me to react emotionally. You wake me up at 8 in the morning.
Why? What's the difference between 8 in the morning and 3 a.m.?
At 3 a.m., I'm at my top. I'm ready to go. I'm feeling it,
But emotionless. Because that's what you're implying.
Yeah, you're at your sturdiest.
Sure.
You're at your sturdiest
Yes,
emotionally
yeah.
at 3 a.m.
Not me.
You're making your best decisions.
Have strong mental fortitude at 3 a.m.
Yeah, I'm staring at the vertices of 2 walls smoking a cigarette, so
Yeah, I'm so high watching fucking steel drum solos on YouTube. I'm not in a good place at 3 a.m. Not a good place to be.
That's fun because I was joking, but that was real.
How long would it take you to realize that there's someone behind you playing a steel drum if they came up while you were watching?
I'm finding steel drum SFX, just so everybody else. You're coming in playing steel drum at this point. That's
Yeah, I'm just trying to get you guys on your toes as possible. On your toes as Blair Witch guy over there. I have a missing person to report
Oh God.
right now.
You gotta ring the bell.
No, you guys not aware of that I'm here? The
Yeah,
steel
no,
drum
you
wasn't
got-
enough?
I know you're there, but you have to ring the bell.
Oh, okay, it's company policy.
Yeah. Otherwise,
Okay.
I don't turn around from the corner.
Okay.
Oh God.
That wasn't a bell. That was just your mouth, but I'll accept it.
Okay. You better. I'm going to hit you with the steel drum.
Sweet.
I have a missing person.
3 a.m. missing person call. That's amazing. This is exactly why we've been advertising on late night television.
I feel like if you get a missing persons thing at 3 a.m. and they're the ones that came in, they're the ones missing.
Or they're the ones who did it.
Or
Oh, that too.
I didn't do it. I didn't do it, by the way.
Yeah, did you just come in here admitting to doing this? That's
no, of course not. Of course not. Who has ever committed a crime that also has a steel drum?
That's true.
You can't commit crimes and have a steel drum. It's impossible.
Purely peaceful people.
One quick thing. It was in 1985. The brutalized body of an unidentified woman and young girl were found inside a steel drum in New Hampshire.
Yeah, that's the one. Those are the details I heard. I was running away, so it kind of trailed off as I was going. But
I was just saying that crimes with steel drums absolutely happen.
Oh, I get what you're. Yeah.
Just fact checking.
Yeah. Those aren't the steel drums that are played in the YouTube videos. But you know what? If there is someone who does that someday,
yeah,
that's going to be a hell of an expose. I
think it'd be a lot more interesting musically if you could play a steel drum with the corpse of a woman and girl inside of it.
Or what if they're dying and they're making noises, like they're doing like an Under the Sea cover while they're in there?
Yeah, that would be good. And you had to like play around it and somehow implement it into a melody.
Yeah,
cries and death rattles.
You're an interesting fellow, sir.
Thanks.
I'm glad you're here. Any missing person will do. You don't even know which one you want. Like I've solved a bunch. I got.
It was man. Her name started with an M. I'm pretty sure.
Melanie.
Yeah.
French girl.
Yep.
Melanie Ethier.
It's all coming back to me. When I run, all the blood goes to my ears, so it's hard to hear. But this sounds familiar. So
perfect. I solved that last week just in case someone came in here looking to solve it. So
damn, that sounds like you did it. You've solved it before you're even aware of it.
This is a common theme. People keep thinking I've committed the crimes because I've always have them researched. We have to do the final solve, but I already did all the research on this Melanie Ethier case, so I don't mind. It's a local case to me. I know everything about it. So if you want,
well, fill me in. I want to be as caught up as you are.
An elite team of private detectives.
What if balloons are aliens? Maybe that's the key component we're missing.
Cover-ups.
John's guilty.
Mysteries that need to be solved.
Maybe Mormons need mountains.
Richard, shut up.
Let's talk about Mel. Today we're doing the case of Mel Ethier. We got our client today is Doug Koenig from the podcast, The Good Best. Fuck, I fucked it up. I said I wasn't going to fuck it up.
God damn it. The Best Worst Friends.
Best Worst Friends.
Son of a bitch.
God, I knew I was going to fuck that up. Best Worst Friends. So if you want to go listen to a good comedy podcast.
Yeah, me and my buddy Tim Nicholson. We just bitch about stuff all the time.
That's fair. It's a comedy podcast.
Just make fun of each other. Try and make each other cry. We never quite get there, but we try our best.
Okay. Well, I was going to say, which episode did you make them cry? And what's the episode people should start on? Right from the beginning? Or do you guys do like stuff right off?
Oh, man. No, I wouldn't go all the way back to the beginning. I would just go back to a title that kind of strikes your fancy. This week, we talked about the movie The Sound of Metal. I don't know if you guys have heard, which is very, very fucked up. Really good movie. And we talked about the Super Bowl a lot.
Is it the documentary they made about you and your steel drums?
No, they should have. No. It was about this like metal drummer who lost his hearing. So like his whole life like flips upside down. Very, very sad, but really good. Yeah.
One man stuffs 2 corpses in a steel drum in the pursuit of musical greatness.
And trying to get that perfect tone. Bong, bong, bong.
I need more bodies.
Yeah. Maybe a baby, because just a little bit. I just need a little bit more.
That's amazing. So yeah, we're going to talk about a case that's actually local enough to me. I don't know if you guys, when you guys drove up here, RJ and Rick, do you remember seeing a missing billboard in the middle of fucking nowhere for this missing girl, like kind of near where I live? You guys would have driven past it, but if you didn't notice it, you didn't notice it. But
no, yeah, I don't think they put up the billboards while they're still on their way out of town, right?
What?
Well, I mean, I'm assuming it's because Rick stole somebody on his way out. That's what you're saying.
Yeah. No. No, this is like older case. Case is super local. People have been asking me to do it since we started, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to because I can upset people I actually know by making jokes, but fuck it, we're doing it. I feel like jokes are happening today. It's happening.
We're all getting canceled. Woo!
How long has this person been missing for?
28 years. And we will get to that, yeah.
And there is still a billboard up?
Oh, fuck yeah.
Jesus Christ. That reminds me that it's like True Detective, like where like Matthew McConaughey keeps driving by the missing persons billboard, and then it's like in different times, so it's just like more and more like degraded and shit.
Yeah, it just keeps getting worse and worse. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty much the same thing. I think they updated it a couple years ago.
Damn.
I do want to say this off the bat though, that like I know there's a lot of people out there that are trying to find out. We're on the same page here. If anyone has any tips and you don't feel comfortable fucking talking to the police or whatever, you could email me. I'll pass it on, but I don't think that's gonna happen. But I'm just saying I'm cool with helping. I'm not making jokes this entire time.
Yeah, but email Richard and have him pass it on to me.
Okay.
And then I'll pass it on to RJ. And then RJ will do with it whatever.
Oh yeah, and then I'm just gonna tell the cops. Sorry. So
No, tell me first. I'll let you know. I'll let you know where it goes. Maybe it dies with me. Who knows?
Yeah, you have a steel drum, man. I'm assuming you have something to do with it already.
Yeah.
So
Watch out, guys.
I have my first theory.
Let's talk about Mel Ethier. I remember this happening when I was a kid. I was 12, 1996. It happens in a little small town called New Liskeard, Ontario, which is like a 2-hour drive away from where I live. Population 4,500 people, pretty much the same size of the town that I come from. New Liskeard now is like actually part of a bigger amalgamated thing, so it's got about 10K people, but at the time it's pretty much the same size city as where I'm from.
Mm-hmm.
Melanie Nadia Ethier was born on Christmas Day 1980 to her mother Celine Ethier. Melanie's father was from Botswana and wasn't really in the picture for most of Melanie's life. He actually just went to the Haileybury School of Mines when he met Celine. It's just like, there's not really, like, if you're going into mining, it's a pretty big school. So like people from all over the world go there. But like, it's very specific to just mining.
Mining,
Yeah.
not miming.
No, yeah, Haileybury School of Mime.
Okay, all right. It took me a second.
4,500 people down.
So he's just like doing like the box of just, he's like hanging a missing poster on a wall that's not there.
It's like, what is he doing?
He's not supposed to have props.
that would be funny. That's how the girl got lost, and she just got stuck in her own box.
She can't. She's just miming. Like, I'm 45 now, just miming around. Yeah, so Celine got pregnant at 18. By the time Celine was fully pregnant, Mel's father already left like towns. He already moved away back to Africa. So
He like grabbed the rope and he like pulled himself out of town.
Yeah. I can finally get back to Africa with my mime rope. I can't afford it otherwise.
That's a sentence that no one's ever said before.
Or he does the boat across,
Celine and Mel's father, it wasn't like, it's not like a toxic relationship. Like, I don't want to put him as a red flag right off the bat as to where Mel went, because like they still talk and everything else. It was one of those things where I'm sure it was toxic at first when he just fucked off and she's like, I'm pregnant, but like nowadays they still talk to this day.
I have a theory.
Yeah.
I think she just went to Botswana because she didn't want to be in Canada.
She actually talked about wanting to do that later on. She was just a kid though. She's 15 when this happened. So
okay.
It's kind of hard to get to Botswana at 15 without parents' help. Maybe we'll add it to the theory pile.
I'm confused as to what the advantage is to being in Botswana versus Canada.
What's the advantage to being there?
I don't know. Nicer weather. You can be outside for not just fucking 3 months out of the year. You can enjoy yourself.
Yeah, you're right. That's probably worth the war crimes and
even when it's hot, it's like a nice hot,
unprosecuted rapes and murder.
Yeah, children with AKs, not a big
Well,
deal.
if you want to go do those things, then yeah, of course you'd want to go to Botswana.
She went because she wanted to do it.
I want to get an AK.
She wanted to partake. She heard about these atrocities and she's like, sign me up.
Okay, I like the theory already. This is a great theory off the bat. She was born to be a war criminal. I like that.
No one flips it back on the victim enough. I'm just kidding. Dear God, that's awful. But
you're right and wrong because we do that all the time. It doesn't happen often enough, but we're trying.
Yeah,
it doesn't happen often enough because it shouldn't. That's why it doesn't happen often enough.
Doug's like, what did I get myself into? Fantastic. So yeah, Liskeard, like I said, Liskeard small. So
this is relevant to the story. It's the only reason I'm saying it. She was in 1996. She was one of only 3 black girls in New Liskeard. People of color are coming up here now. There's shit tons of people. But back then I had one, there was just one black girl in my entire town when I grew up.
Entire town?
In my entire town. I say town because like she was adopted from Haiti and her parents were like white French people, like literally the one black person. Yeah.
That's terrible.
Yeah, I also had that in St. Thomas. There were not a lot of black people. I get it. Small town Ontario, man.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to go back to Botswana. It's like,
yeah, like maybe I want to go to a place where there's more people who look like me. Like,
yeah, just go to Toronto and you don't have to go back to Africa.
Dear God. Instead of fucking just white people like just staring at you all the time. Like, fuck, that would be brutal.
No, it's true. And especially in 1996, it's a lot less tolerant than it is these days, especially where I'm from.
Yeah.
Like, my God, these guys came up here for a day and they saw how fucking racist it was still to this day. Never mind fucking 28 years ago. Can you imagine?
Yeah,
I mean, it wasn't more racist than my town. It was just they felt a little safer because there was only like 6 people around. So it just came out a little bit louder.
You're probably right. Mel had a little sister named Jessie. Jessie's 10 years younger than Mel. Celine always says that Mel was like a second mother to Jessie. Melanie went to school at École Secondaire Catholique Saint-Marie and had a part-time job at the daycare that was attached to the school, which I find amazing that they had a daycare at the high school in the small town near here. What does that tell you guys?
That the teachers could not afford babysitters.
Tells you a lot of guys at that mining school. Tells you a lot of mining guys can't pull out.
A lot of mimes. I'm just gonna. It's gonna be a blank. I'm shooting blanks, and it was. That was a bad mime joke. All right. Yeah, so she'd get up early in the morning and before school, like 6 a.m. and she would make it to school by 7 to be like to open up the daycare for like, I guess, her buddies. And after school, she would be back at the daycare again to close out the place after all her friends are done class. Her mom also worked at that daycare, so they both had a job at the same place. Celine was also taking college courses for social work when Mel had actually gone missing. So she's trying to just like better her life, I guess, instead of being, just working at the daycare. Maybe I could be a social worker. Mel's described to many as being salt of the earth, quote unquote. I love when they do this stuff. She had a lovely personality. Her smile lit up a room. They always say shit like that.
Never once have they quoted someone after someone's like a victim of something and been like, yeah, she was kind of a bitch.
Yeah, I know. We talk
Never
about that.
Never once
often.
do they put that in the newspaper or whatever, or put it on Dateline. Never comes up.
I want that in my obituary.
Yeah,
just
this guy
reads one line, cocksucker. Just like survived by, and then that's
survived by people who are glad he's gone.
I assume that she is a nice girl by what I read from her, but like,
I mean, she worked at a daycare. You have to be a good person to work at a daycare.
Yeah,
Hell the fuck no, you do not. The worst people work at daycares. You're been to
what happened to you at a daycare? All right, that's the next episode. We're unpacking what happened.
Oh my god! I mean, maybe when I was a kid, I didn't realize it, but the pieces of shit that I have interacted with when I picked my nieces up from daycare, holy fuck! They should not be allowed around children. I walked in one time and they were just loudly talking about a brutal murder that happened the week before in front of like 6-7-year-olds. Just
had to grow up at some point.
Like they were yelling about it over a group of them playing.
I grow up fast in Syracuse, buddy.
Yep.
You got to get kids used to it. You gotta look at the state of schools these days. Prepare them.
I don't know if that's going to help the school shootings or not. I'm not sure.
Just put them on edge. We got to get these kids more stressed out, more reactive.
Yeah, I have to agree with you though, RJ, that people that work at daycares are kind of shitty. Because like I remember when my kid was in daycare, the lady, whatever. I live in a small town and we know everybody. It's not like it's this big like mystery lady. I know who the lady is. So I would just pay cash all the time, and she'd be like, "Oh, I'll give you a receipt at the end of the year." Like, cool, whatever. And then she just never cashed in my like she got arrested for fucking fraud for just taking everyone's cash. You know what I mean? Like that's the daycare lady. Good job.
Yeah, that sounds about right because it's easy to do. You think about it like, okay, I just hold on to this thing and keep it alive for 6 to 8 hours.
You're basically just kidnapping, but they're aware of it.
Yeah. You just hold on to it, feed it, and then if anything bad happens to it, as long as it's still alive, you just don't talk about it with the parents. You just lie. You know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, like one of the other kids bit him or something, even though you're the one who bit him because you're an insane person.
You want to get a taste.
At him. But like, it's also like it pays marginally more or even the same or less sometimes than just working in fucking fast food. There's like no qualifiers other than the fact that you're not a fucking child molester convicted.
You're not an on the books molester.
Yeah, exactly. There's like the barrier to entry is so fucking low. Like if I just wanted to pick up and start over all like somewhere, I could probably work at a daycare with a completely thin assumed identity.
Literally, it's here where I am. There's so few daycares that you can just go like, you basically like, I don't know, like a license or something. You just be like, I'm opening a daycare in my house, and they go, sure. They don't check in any. Like when I first moved back here, my kids were really young, and I had another friend with same age kids and stuff. They all worked. I was on EI. I'm like, well, I started the fucking little mini daycare, and I'm a terrible person. I shouldn't have kids around me. So like, this is.
What's the thing? But like, who's worse? Is it the daycare people or is it the parents who like just try to like put the blinders on and then leave them there? You know what I mean?
True. But it's like a hard, like you can't not put them there. So you got like, you're in a desperate spot. Sometimes you just go like, I guess the lady with most her teeth can watch my kid. I don't know.
It'll build character.
Yeah.
I bet that gas smell is just from them turning it off.
Yeah,
I think it'll be okay.
She also wanted to be a teacher when she got older. Everyone said she was really good with the kids, and that would be a great job for her. At the time of her disappearance, she was 5'5", 120 pounds, brown eyes with long braided black hair. Sometimes she would have hair extensions, so making her hair even longer. I think she had hair extensions when this happened. I can't remember.
Can I just say that was an odd, like, is this a grown girl or a grown person or no?
She's 15.
Oh, okay. All right. I don't know why I thought they were an adult. So it was just odd that you, at the time, the height, I was like...
Yeah, because
when they found her corpse, she was 6'7".
Here's the mystery. We found it.
A growth spurt in her death. Yeah, I don't know if she's dead. She probably is. When she disappeared, she had long painted nails too. She had big ass fucking fingernails. Anyways, this is just descriptor. So let's talk about the day of the disappearance. So Saturday, September 28th, 1996. Started out with our 15-year-old Melanie visiting her mother's friend, Sylvie Chartrand. Sylvie and Celine had been friends since they were kids. Celine, Mel, and Jesse, the little family, visited there often. So Sylvie also had her own son. His name is Jason, who was the same age as Mel, and she had a daughter, Stephanie, who was the same age as Jesse. So it was like they all went and visited each other, all best friends with each other. The only difference was Sylvie also actually had a boyfriend or husband. They always say partner, and I'm not sure if that means like long-term boyfriend or they were married or if like, I don't fucking know. They like owned a business together. I don't fucking know. They're partners anyway.
Rob bands together.
It's just weird. Like you can't say girlfriend, boyfriend anymore. Everyone's partners. It's fucking too
partner's weird. Yeah.
It's too much.
It's like, stop lying to me. Whenever someone says like this is my partner, or when they talk about their partner and they're not there, and you're like, cool. Now I just get to wonder.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the What the Fuck is Going Wrong with This World podcast. We're men and we're angry that things aren't the way they used to be.
Amen.
So the only difference between Sylvie's family and Celine's family is Sylvie had a boyfriend at the time, or partner, sorry. His name Dennis Lavallee. That morning when Mel went to visit them, Sylvie and her daughter Stephanie were the only two that were home. Dennis Lavallee and her son Jason were out of town on a fishing trip. Being similar in age, Jason and Mel were best friends, like I said. Stephanie and Jesse were best friends. And after her visit with Sylvie and Stephanie, Melanie headed downtown via bus. She ran into one of her friends, and they headed to the public library to go do some studying. Her friend in this entire story remains anonymous. So I'm just going to call her Mel's friend for the rest of it, because that's the only person that's really anonymous in this. So
question.
Yeah.
How big was this town?
3,500 people.
What possibly could a downtown look like?
Yeah.
in a
Also, is it
place like
one
that?
bus? Is it they caught the bus? It's a
Yeah,
town of
that
3,500?
was.
There is a bus, correct? And
Mhm.
New Liskeard's actually on the highway. So like the side of the highway, like the Trans-Canada Highway, has like a shit ton of stuff, and like just for stopping in. And then the town is like 10 minutes down the road kind of thing. So like I don't know if they mean she went to the downtown that's like actually in town, or if she went up to where the highway is. But
I'm picturing like a largish gas station, and by public library they just mean the magazine rack at the gas station.
okay,
Right.
that's good enough, I guess.
We're gonna go study the brochures for why to stay in towns that are 40 miles from here.
They're at the library and then they decide, fuck this, it's Saturday, we're gonna just go out and have some fun. So they head to Pizza for lunch. They run a few errands, one of them being to pick up some stuff for a cake. Melanie was going to bake a cake for her grandmother's birthday party, which was planned for the next day. And then they headed to pick up some money from a babysitting client of Melanie's. So Mel would do some babysitting on the side as well. Eventually, the two girls meet up with Melanie's boyfriend, Neil Fortier, and three of his friends, Dave Bromley, Jay Dename, and Ryan Chatwin. Fortier later says that Melanie was in a good mood that day. She was having a great day, so nothing suggests that she was upset or anything like that. So Melanie suggests to her friends that maybe they go rent a movie and watch it at her house that evening. So they go to the rental store and they rent the Van Damme vehicle, Sudden Death. Has anybody seen Sudden Death? Because it's fucking terrible.
I've not, but I am familiar with it.
Yeah, so that was their plan. The girls were like, let's watch Sudden Death. I'm sure that was the guy's idea.
It sounds like one of the best days. Like she just like, went to the library, did a little studying, baked a cake, watched a movie.
She didn't get a chance to bake
Adorable
the cake
day.
yet, but yeah, she's having a great day for sure.
Yeah.
So Mel goes back to her house and she says, Mom, we're going to watch a movie here. And her mom's like, I don't know if you should watch a movie here. Like, your grandma's here. It's your birthday tomorrow. We're hanging out in the living room and your bedroom's a fucking nightmare. Like, you're not hanging out here. Go. So after that, they go, fuck it. Let's go to like somebody else's house to watch a movie. So they leave and they run into a few other friends. And the five teens decide to go to Ryan Chatwin's house to watch the Van Damme classic. This is about 10 o'clock at night. Bromley, one of the kids, goes home. Chatwin lived about 10-minute walk from Melanie's house, so it's not like they had to go across town. They just walked a little bit. Chatwin's parents are home while they're watching this movie, but they stay inside the room the whole time, as I'm sure the teenagers are just destroying that fridge, like eating all their food. The kids watch the movie quietly in the basement until about 12:30 when Denemy and Mel's friend left. When Etie's friend left, she was actually going to Melanie's house because Melanie's grandparents were going to give her a ride to the next little town over where she lived in Haileybury, which is now part of that amalgamated fucking city now. Her friend said that as she was walking to Mel's house from Ryan's house, she noticed a light-colored two-door Chevy Monte Carlo slowly approach her. And she says this freaks her out, and she started to like run quickly to a more lit up part of the intersection near the Armstrong Street Bridge. She believes the car was occupied by two teenagers or two young men, like around that age. She got to Mel's house just in time to catch the last part of SNL because she watched the last sketch of the night. So I guess just a little bit before 1 a.m. Then they were down to three teens at Chatwin's house, Mel, her boyfriend Neil Fortier, and Ryan Chatwin. The teens don't remember the exact time that they watched the movie but it must have been until about 1:30ish because the last known sighting of Mel is around 1:32 in the morning, walking along the Armstrong Street Bridge. And Mel, when she decided to go home first before the boys, I guess, and the boys just said, okay, bye. And then she just walked home by herself at 1:30 in the morning. I don't really think that's cool. Like, it's a small town. I get that. But like, I always walk my buddies home if I can.
No, that's super shitty. I'll literally like after first dates, I would walk girls home, not like out of like hoping to get up there, but because like I don't want the next day of my life to be like the start of a Law and Order episode where I'm like working at a flower shop and you come in and tell me someone I know was murdered. Like,
Yeah,
I
for
don't
sure.
want to, I'm making sure you're getting to the door and getting to your place so that like my hands are clean of anything that could possibly befall you.
Yeah, and then if something does befall you, her hands are dirty, and then you don't have to worry about it. You know?
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna hard disagree with that because depending on who it is that was murdered, if I hated them and I got like a lovely quiet career working in a flower shop and then woke up one Monday and found out someone I hated was murdered, that's one of the best lives you could live. Pruning a bouquet and then you're like, hey, your neighbor Greg, who, you know, bitched at you for 6 years about the branch overhanging on his property, stabbed in the face.
Yeah, that's great. Unless you were just seen with him the night before and you were like brandishing your shears at him, you know, like you'd want to be able to like clear yourself as much as possible. That's why I walk them home.
I see it from both sides. I understand also being a teenager, like it's 10 minutes away.
I'm independent.
Why would I walk? You know what I mean? Like,
I just watch sudden death. I can walk home by myself. Yeah. I'm John Claude Van Damme.
God damn, I can kick high. Yeah, I feel like I understand. I just don't. I wouldn't have done that. Yeah. I'm not mad at the kids for that. They got a lot of flack. These two kids, for not walking her home. I don't want to give them flack really for it.
Which is, they're fucking kids. It's like it's in the thing you said. They're fucking kids. What do you expect? If anything, is if I can get mad at their parents
for sure
for raising a kid who didn't walk them home. You know,
the parents that were sleeping in the room like didn't give a ride either. You know what I mean? Like they're responsible for them. There's a lot.
Yeah.
Mel typically wouldn't be walking home alone like that on a normal day, but they had just actually, Mel's mom had just lost their home phone line to not paying the bills. So she couldn't even call for a ride if she wanted to. And that's what Celine said. Usually if it was that late at night, she would have called for a ride, but like, I guess that night she just couldn't.
Yeah.
Mel's route would have led her past 3 intersections, over the Armstrong Street Bridge, past a gas station / public library, and an apartment building, ending in one of 2 routes, which is either the back alley or like the main front road. And I know exactly what this means. It's exactly like my town. Like every 2 streets have like a back lane you can go down. So it's, you pick one of the 2. Usually the parents said that she would take the back alley because that's where the door was. Like the mostly used door was in the back, but that doesn't mean she necessarily did it. She didn't come home that night. The next morning, Celine wakes up at 5 a.m. to the sound of Mel's alarm going haywire in her room. Celine says she's sitting in bed going like, okay, Mel, turn your alarm off. Mel, turn your alarm off. And then she doesn't do it. So she gets up and goes into the room and notices Mel's not there. Celine doesn't turn on the warning signals yet for this entire thing. She just assumes that because she didn't have the phone, maybe Mel just stayed at her friend's house last night. Lots of times Mel would fall asleep watching movies anyway. So maybe she just passed out. And she's probably on her way to work from her friend's house. This is around 6 in the morning. So after seeing her daughter wasn't home, she goes back to bed until about 9 o'clock. Melanie's grandparents arrive back at Celine's house around 10 to get ready for the birthday party. Mel was supposed to have the cake ready by this time, and there's no cake or her to be found anywhere. So Celine's parents, Mel's grandparents, say, let's go take a little ride to Tim Hortons. We'll get like coffee or something, and then you can use the phone. And if Mel just dropped the ball on this cake thing, we'll buy a cake when we're there. So main goal, though, to use the phone to call and see where Mel is. Like, do you have a fucking cake made? Like, did you do the thing you said you were going to do?
Dude, they're so pissed at Mel today.
Yeah, well,
it's fucking up nonsense. When they find her, they're going to be screaming like, you left the alarm on. We were hungry.
They call the daycare, first of all, because they assume she's at work. Daycare said that Mel never showed up to work. This is when Celine starts to panic, and she calls the New Liskeard Police Service to report her daughter missing. Now, remember, this is a town of 3,500 people, so the New Liskeard Police Force, I'm sure, is full of the best and brightest. Police do immediately go search the area around the Armstrong Bridge and along the banks of the Wabi River that runs under it. Nothing to find. The New Liskeard PD realized this search early on that this is too big for their little force, and they call in the OPP, which is the Ontario Provincial Police, for help. The OPP actually musters together a helicopter, a police dog team, and a search and rescue dog, I guess, like a specific one looking that can smell.
Without a dog that could smell?
Like the ones that, like the sniffer dogs.
Dude, that's crazy. They really pulled out all the stops getting a dog that can smell.
Hey, Canadian policing, we
Yeah.
have no bounds for what we're able to offer.
Fucking wild.
I was reading there's a difference. Like they have these search and rescue dogs that'll just like track along like they'll use their nose too, but the search and rescue ones, like they fucking give you a smell like on a rag, like you see in the movies, and they'll fucking follow that. Other dogs will just like grit out an area.
Well, yeah, other dogs can't smell. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Other dogs just have a map. You're like, wow, that's actually more impressive than the smelling, to be honest. The dog reads a map.
One of the things that I found funny here, and I couldn't figure out any more of it, was that without prompt, a psychic with a history of helping the police in New Liskeard just joins the team to help find.
Helping.
Fucking love that.
Right away.
It makes me so angry, but just the fact that people are that bold that they just rubberneck their way into being like, I sense you need some help over here.
Yeah, my psychic is
Ride
tingling.
those coattails. Yeah. Pieces of shit.
Yeah, but they don't really specify like why the psychic's there. Like Celine even says it. She's like, day 3, I had a psychic come talk to me, and like day 1, the psychic's out there. Like she doesn't really say what they said or if they helped at all, but I'm gonna say probably not.
I think that's an educated guess. I think.
Yeah, I'm gonna say probably not.
They're just like hovering like, like 5 or 6 feet back as the cops are like, yeah, it looks like there's some tracks, and then they're just like, excuse me, I smell tracks in my brain smells tracks in the ground there, everybody. Is that, did I get it?
It's just a cop bent over, like about to pick up like a cigarette butt or something. And she's like, gets right in front, like, there's some tracks here. It's like, no, I was pointing out that cigarette butt. Cigarette butt here. That's what I was talking about.
I think psychics are like guys who try and fuck every girl. It's like if you shoot your shot 100% of the time, maybe eventually once it'll happen, and then they can slap that on a resume.
Oh,
that
yeah,
they fucking
it's a
got
certainty.
one thing right,
I think the only thing more impressive than a fucking comedian fucking because of comedy is a psychic fucking because of psychicness. Psychics.
Right?
Yeah.
I would even wager to say that psychics are just failed comedians.
Possibly, yeah. People,
right.
comedians who couldn't make people laugh, so they're like, I'll just try and guess stuff about them instead. I guess.
Had several of those coming through the club.
Oh yeah, gross.
Come see the hypnotist, but he's funny. Ooh.
Oh yeah,
it's different.
Yeah, we have a lot of the sexual harassment hypnotists that come through
Nice.
local small town Ontario scenes.
Yeah, so it would be nice if they had just a little bit more self-awareness to fucking kill themselves.
Yeah.
All in all, between the New Liskeard Police Department and the OPP, besides the helicopter and the dogs, they had 12 officers just like knocking on every door in the neighborhood. They gathered all the surveillance from whatever businesses were nearby and some visitor logs from the nearby hotels. Apparently, there was 3 weddings going on in town that night, so the hotels were filled with people from out of town.
Oh shit!
All of Mel's friends that were there with the previous night were questioned by police. Questioned the next day on Monday at school in the principal's office. The police went there while the vice principal sat there. The cops just asked kids questions without parents around. Just there's a vice principal here. This should be fine. Which I find fucking bad. Like my kids ever were questioned by the cops without me being there, I'd be super pissed.
What did you tell them?
You son of a bitch, you better not fucking.
That's not what I meant, but yes, that too. But what I meant is like they're like implying that these kids fucking did this. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
just because they were there. So like when you're in a
shitty way to police
room, when you're getting interviewed by police, it doesn't matter if you're innocent or guilty. I'm going to tell this to anybody. You just always ask for a lawyer. And if you're young, ask for your parents at least, because cops aren't your friends. They're trying to make you look guilty so they can close the case. That's what they're trying to do every time.
Of course. Yeah. They're at work. They're
exactly.
doing a fucking stupid job.
They're not your buddies.
Terrible. I don't believe that. Then why would they give you a can of soda and one of those tiny little bags of chips? Only people that love you do that.
Yeah, it's not for fingerprints or DNA at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, they're not your buddies.
It's for yummy snack time.
So yeah, they did that, which I don't know if that's even legal, but they did it. About a week after the disappearance, there was an underwater search and rescue training that was scheduled already. So they actually used this opportunity to actually look for something instead of just like hey, come on, put your scuba gear on. This is how you would search for something. The problem with the search in the Lake Temiskaming is the lake that's nearby. It's 295 kilometer squared sized lake, or 114 square mile lake. It's a big ass lake. It's really muddy and shit. So like as soon as you get in, you can't even see anything. So they had to like do hand searches the whole time. So they did do a search, but like it's not really greatest, I guess.
How many bodies did they find though? That feels like the kind of thing where if you truly dedicate yourself, you're like, yeah, we didn't find this one girl, but we found like 45 other fucking bodies. So
they actually found nothing, which I was surprised too. I was like, they must have found something when they were in that lake, because they had a bunch of guys in there.
Yeah.
An old boot.
Yeah. In the coming days, the police got a military aircraft used to search the area as well. So they did a nice, pretty big grid. No trace of anything of Mel. It is pretty thick bush up here, so like you get into the woods, you're not going to see anything from the plane, honestly.
Good bless you, Rick.
Thank you. I felt that one coming for a while.
Did you? Because that was the most you've contributed in like
I was going to say that's the first time I've seen the yellow rectangle around his character.
I'm honestly
closer.
You confused me with the last name of this person, so I've just been searching around trying to see if I could puzzle together.
It's Ethier.
That's all right, buddy. I've been scrolling up and down Jean-Claude Van Damme's filmography for the better part of 30 minutes. So,
and I've been paying attention. So
good, thank you, Doug.
I'm trying to solve this case.
You're the fool.
No, I've been paying attention. I've just also been trying to take the pieces with just the name Mel and see if I could find the end, and I couldn't.
C'est un nom français. Je m'excuse. Officially, no evidence has ever been found for this case. That's what the police say. They don't really have any, but they definitely are holding back some stuff, guaranteed, because it's still an active case. There is a rumor that there's something that was found on the day of the disappearance by the police. But like I said, cops aren't releasing information. It's almost like she just like left her friends and just disappeared into thin air. It's kind of crazy, actually.
What is the rumor about what was found? Like,
they don't know. People just say that the cops got something that day, but nobody knows exactly what it is. It's a thing that floats around the internet still to this day.
That's really weird. Cops are generally so much more transparent than that.
Especially with an old, well, no, they're not, but with an old case like this, usually they just say, fuck it, here's all the info, especially to like podcasters
at this point,
and
yeah.
stuff.
So they want it to be done.
Yeah, end it because it's looming over, especially New Liskeard. I'm sure that's the only like unsolved missing person.
Yeah. They probably had to adjust the population sign when she went missing. Like it was a fucking big deal there.
They definitely probably did, honestly. So by mid-October, the case is listed with Crime Stoppers. Do you guys have Crime Stoppers in the US? Is that a thing?
I've heard of it. I don't ever actually understood what it is.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
It's a tip line. So you call, and then if they get an arrest off of what your tip was, you can get up to $5,000 depending on.
That's fucking stupid.
Hey, yeah. I say we should commit crimes and then leave tips to get the money for helping solve the crime. But we plant evidence on someone else. That's important. I should.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. We need to find a patsy for this, because otherwise we're just putting each other in jail.
Hey, Rick, you haven't been paying attention. You're looking something up. I have a proposition for you.
It's Crime Stoppers, but tips so they can close cases. So really, they're not stopping anything. They're just tattling,
basically. And I was actually doing fundraiser shows for Crime Stoppers this weekend, and they had all their like statistics on the table. And 2023 stats for Near North Crime Stoppers was 800 and some tips received, 12 cases closed. Like that's a terrible batting average. That's not. You guys are doing
that's pretty good.
No, it's good, and it's good that they crowdsource, police work, because those guys are so busy and underfunded that they definitely need the assistance.
Well, we made a bunch of money for tipsters. That's what we were doing. That's
great. Yeah, no, you directly help the police, Richard. You're a good guy.
I'm great. I'm fantastic. I know.
Yeah, you're not a class traitor or anything.
Honestly, they paid me good, so I don't really care. That's really where it
typical class traitor. They paid me good. I'll work the train. Who cares?
Yeah, the blood of the poor is on your hands.
I would have taken a Crime Stoppers gig. I get it.
For fucking sure.
I would take a fucking Crime Starters gig, dude, if it paid well enough. Applying for people you want murdered.
Anything to not have that full-time job.
Yeah, dude. I'm avoiding it like the plague.
So yeah, eventually New Liskeard erects a sign just outside of town with a big picture of Melanie that says missing across the top, and then her photo's like in the middle of the sign. On the left-hand side of the photo, it just says Melanie, and under that it says, "You know what happened to me," and underneath that it says Crime Stoppers. And on the right-hand side of the picture, it says Ethier, so Melanie Ethier. Under that, it says, "So why don't you help?" And then underneath that, it gives the Crime Stoppers number, which is 1-800-222-TIPS. But I just fucking find that's very aggressive. "You know what happened to me, so why don't you help?" On a giant bulletin board.
Yeah, it's very...
Dude, you know what they're trying to do? They made a whole city feel bad.
But what if there really was no crime and she just went to Botswana and now they're like really ramping this up? And
well, then the sign was directed at her.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
They just should have like sent it. They should have put one up in Botswana as well.
Maybe they did.
Just
Maybe there's
sure.
one in Botswana. I didn't do that research.
I'm sorry. Just to clarify, she's actually from Botswana?
No, she's from Canada. She's born in Canada. She didn't even know her dad really.
I'm sorry, but like that is where her lineage comes from.
Yeah, that's where her dad's from.
Okay, I was just really worried we were being racist and pulling an African country out of a hat.
No, he's from there.
I think they were just trying. They probably figured this crime was committed by someone local, and they're trying to break their spirit. I think at this point, the crime is actually going to be solved by like a deathbed confession, or like a journal found after someone dies. You know what
Agreed.
I mean?
And
if it's got a dark end to it, I bet you it's that kind of thing.
The police had a full-time task force working on this case for 2 years, basically, until 1998 when they disbanded it. Now there's still 2 detectives working this case, but it's very, very cold. There has been some evidence released to the public, like before, I don't know, I think 2004 or 2008 or something like that. They didn't tell the public that there was an eyewitness that actually had seen Melanie crossing the bridge that night. So they released that. Over the course of the investigation, police say they've interviewed over 300 suspects. They've received over 700 tips, and they investigate each and every one of them, even the ones that come in from the psychics. Here, I just kind of want to show you guys something that I found was interesting. There's one psychic that the cops hate, and they specifically mention him a couple times. And he, in 2012, I believe, or 2018, I'd have to look at the video. He just started using, I don't know if you guys know what a spirit box is.
No.
A ghost's pussy.
Yeah, that would be a spirit box as well. It's kind of that, really. It's like a radio thing that they set up. I don't know how they set it up. I don't know how to make one of these, but it's like a little radio that you turn on to a certain frequency, and apparently it can talk to the dead. So this guy here made a video about Mel Ethier a couple years ago, and he really lit the fire under the cops, honestly, because people were right into this shit. And yeah, it's fucking absolutely bonkers. So I'm going to pull this up and you guys can see what I'm talking about. Because what the fuck? Why are people like, I guess people really want this to be solved, but this isn't the way. This is not the way. And remember how you said you think psychics are guys that are just like trying, this is a psychic.
Oh no, you think you mean psycho.
Yes, kind of. And here's our buddy.
Wait, before you click play,
yeah.
That definitely is just Doug without a beanie on, right?
Jesus.
That was me.
I mean,
I liked it.
I'm for sure planting evidence on him for a crime now after that comment. It's over for you.
Let's see. I think this guy's name is Robert Jolicoeur. He put this out when it says 3 years ago, so it wasn't that long ago. And cops are very upset about this guy because he brought in a lot of stupid, shitty tips. So listen to this.
There's a few people that just passed around me, so there's a good chance they're going to be here. What comes true in French, I'm going to translate in English. The things I don't hear, that I put question marks. If one of you is around that area, maybe that question mark that I'm putting, maybe you guys will click. It would you'll be able to relate to what they're saying, since I'm not from there at all. So I'll turn on my machine, I'll see who's here first, and then I'm gonna ask for her. And hopefully it's a clear day today, because some days are way clearer than others. Like I can do a session right now and it won't be that bad, or I can do a session in an hour from now and it's going to be the best.
It's
session
all
ever,
horseshit,
right?
dude.
It's
Every
like
time you do it, it's going to be horseshit. Just so
anyways, I'm going to start my machine.
Not just now. It'll be now and later
gonna
and every other time.
Go from there.
Is this an excuse to do horrific accents? Just say that like a Chinese person died near you and just.
Okay, before I continue, that when he puts on the captions on the screen, that's what that little sound is saying, apparently.
How? He's just making that. He's just like, it says that's what it's saying.
Yeah,
that's what it's saying.
Wait, yeah. Does the box do that live, or does he have to edit that over top of it?
He edits it over top. It goes dut, and he says it says time to talk.
Hey, everyone.
I kind of get the feeling we can't see the spirit box because his spirit box is a Tickle Me Elmo with the batteries dying.
He left in the freezer for like a couple weeks. That's the radio. So,
how you guys been? How you guys been?
It doesn't say anything. It's just random sounds. Like
just a mentally ill man who can hear things that aren't there.
Yeah, it's like picking up a commercial.
Are you guys having a good day?
Yeah, I want you to see this though. Look, where's the comments? There's like a lot of people.
Leads with this is incredible.
Anyways, this I just want to like. This is
weird,
the guy.
I do a session like upstairs in my room beside my bed, and it works amazing.
I was like, is this something this guy just like made up?
You think I can buy one?
Yes, you can. I went and looked them up. Oh yeah, I want to have a spirit box session so badly.
And they just start spitting random sounds at you that I have to determine what language fits my narrative best, or
yes,
okay.
You definitely gotta.
Cool. I hope mine speaks German. That'll be pretty cool.
It's bad enough that we're whispering into ghosts' vaginas. We don't need to be trafficking them sexually.
Oh shit! It's like a walkie-talkie. This is not what I was expecting.
I don't understand. I was trying to like figure out what they do to this fucking radio to make it sound. I don't understand. Yeah, it's like just magical. It's magic.
What version do you think I should get? The SB7 or the SB7T?
Whatever
Probably
version
the
you
Pro.
get, you have to share with us. I don't care which one. You get the best one. Whatever costs you the most.
It just looks like a portable radio. It's got a crazy long antenna on it.
It's because it's going to heaven, dude.
It's just a radio. I mean, it even says FM on it. It's just a radio.
Anyways, sorry.
No, I didn't even add the end of my joke. I was going to try and say the FM stands for like from somewhere beyond, but I couldn't think of an M word.
Floating muff because it's a ghost vagina.
There you go.
Yeah.
AM afterlife mouths. All right, it's not working.
Perfect. We solved it.
Yeah, so that guy's like actively pissing off the police, which I find that's the funniest part about it. It's like there's 20 of these. That's just part one, and it's like 25 minutes long. There's literally like 20 sessions of him looking for Mel. It's unreal.
That's so ridiculous.
It's gross too, but it's funny.
It is gross. As long as he's not like taking people's money, like waste your own time, that's whatever. But like the second these fucking psychic losers take people's money to be like, yeah, your grandma says hi and that she loves you a lot. And then they're fucking weeping and she's like, all right, $500, please. You're a piece of shit. You're just garbage.
Well, I mean, it looks like I can do that for $89. So
yeah, but you have to do it like he does it. So like you bring it with you on the bus and you make sure you pull the antenna out extra long to be annoying, and you don't have headphones on, and it's just making all that horrible screechy racket. And every once in a while, you just go, yeah, yep.
Dude, that's how you get your head cut off on the bus.
Yeah, that's happening.
You're asking for it at that point.
No, I'd be far more terrified of that guy.
Oh, he's doing the cutting.
It's just a radio.
Looks like a guitar tuner.
Can't know until you spend the money on it, Rick.
Yeah, you might as well.
It looks like, you know what this guy is? This guy's a fucking genius. A Radio Shack went out of business and he bought like 1,000 of these for like dirt cheap. And now he's just saying it talks to ghosts. He's an entrepreneur. He's a piece of shit, but he's an entrepreneur.
Well, they come with black lights. So that's
Now,
That's pretty good.
just as like a little, I'm going to play devil's advocate a little bit. I don't think that psychics are biggest piece of shit sometimes. Like, if you're going to make someone feel better about like their mom dying and they're just wrecked about it, and the only thing that I want to talk to her one last time, you can like put that to rest for them with some fucking, but it's bullshit. Don't get me wrong. But like, if that helps them like get over it and move on with the rest of their life, I don't think that's like
That's fair, but like
charge someone $200,
$50, not like 800 like Long Island medium where it costs like $600 to talk to her on the phone or something, you know?
All right. Celine is still actively looking for her daughter. To this day, her and other town volunteers distribute missing flyers and keep the word alive. Celine still gets tips every month. She says she gets at least one or two, and she goes and investigates them herself.
Oh, that is so sad.
Yeah.
That is so incredibly sad that she's like still, you know, working on it.
Yeah. She talks to the police once a week. So she's right involved with whatever the police are doing. They still don't tell her everything, but she'll bring them tips, whatever she gets. Celine, she also has a Facebook group with over 14,000 people, and she's active on it every day. It's called Let's Work Together to Find Melanie Ethier. It seems like a nice group of people try to, I don't know, throw around some tips. I went in there. It's like a missing persons thing. Everyone's pretty nice in there. There's no one being like, fuck her, she's in Botswana.
Thank God.
Celine has
nobody else offered that she might be in Botswana.
It's very not likely. You'd have to have a passport. People would know you left the country. Like it's not just like you can't just get on a car and like, now I'm in Botswana. Like there's a lot of things they would have tracked her there. It would have been easy to find her at this point. Like she left with nothing. If she left, she just literally left with no passport, nothing. She just disappeared.
Yeah.
She was dedicated.
Really wanted to get to Botswana.
Celine's given up hope that her daughter's still alive, but she just wants to find her body to put her to rest. She doesn't really even care if it's not even about like finding the killer anymore, because she knows that it's been 28 years. The guy's either dead or dying or whatever.
That's the hard part about the missing persons cases is that, you know, even if she was murdered, you know, that guy might have died of lung cancer like 6 years after. And
It could be.
No one fucking knew, right?
Yeah. So yeah, this is where we get into the theory portion of the episode. I don't know if you guys want to rhyme off. You guys say she's in Botswana. Okay, that's one theory that I didn't put in the theories, but we could talk about it if you think she's there. I just don't think that she'd make it there without police knowing. That's all. Without like, it's been a long time now, but shitty New Liskeard police. Who knows? Like, oh yeah, passport. We could have checked that. Who knows? You guys got any other theories that you want to throw out there before I start ripping off what the real theories are? Like what the
I honestly think it is just like unfortunately she was murdered and it's going to be a deathbed confessional if they ever learn the facts. And it's just like there's probably so much area up there that you can hide a body if you want to.
For sure.
Right?
It's a mining
I'm sure they got a
community.
lot of forest. Like there you go.
Yeah, there's lots of shafts you could just throw anything down. It'll never be found again, for sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Wait, there's just lots of shafts, like just
old mining
you
shafts.
just stumble upon them.
You could, for sure. They're not all mapped out. They're from like the 20s and 30s and 40s. Like people just were mining and they get out their big chunks of gold and they're done. They move on to the next place.
I believe he was making a wiener joke.
Okay, so first theory that was right off the bat was the boyfriend did it. It's always the boyfriend. Like I said, police interviewed all the friends at the movie party night. They've all been cleared, really, by their parents and everybody else. Her boyfriend, Neil, was actually her new boyfriend. She just started dating him. She had a boyfriend from before that. I forget what that guy's name is. I think I wrote it down. But he was the main suspect right away for a long time. And he was asked to take a polygraph. He took one. He passed the polygraph, which we know isn't really the be all end all of like an investigation. But I mean, he was willing to help the police in any way, especially as a kid.
I have a question here. Sorry.
Sure.
They interviewed like 350 witnesses or something like that, or
they interviewed
suspects,
300
like
suspects.
that.
Yeah.
There's only 4,500 people in the town.
Yeah.
You can just interview everyone in the town at that point.
You could.
Like how many people do the American Idol judges see when they like go through a town? Like they go through thousands. Like we can go through every fucking story of every goddamn person who's in this geographical region, cross-reference everything. They're going to figure something out.
I'll foreshadow a little bit here for you. If they would have done that, they probably would have found the guy easily. like it's super obvious who I think it is. Like they just didn't. Like that's what I mean. And there's such a small police force. They don't deal with missing people or even murders, let's say. Like they probably just didn't know what the fuck they were doing.
They were probably like hungover in class the day they covered that in police foundations, if they were even fucking there in the first place.
For sure.
You know, like
Neil Fortier was kind of a victim in his own way on this, honestly. He still lives in New Liskeard. And to this day, people still think he has something to do with Mel's disappearance. He still hears it all the time.
Dude, that sucks. That sucks to deal with forever.
Even to this day, like he has a job where people come in and they notice who he is and they say, fuck that guy.
Yeah. Just rude as fuck. Like, how much do you have to, like, you know, clear yourself as a suspect? Like, forever. That sucks.
As soon as she gets found, or if she ever does get found, then he'll probably have it less on his shoulders. But like until she's found, she's in his basement. You know what I mean? Like look at this guy. Yeah. Keep looking at that guy. He definitely had something to do with it. He didn't walk her home. Are you sure he didn't walk her home? You know?
And it's like this guy's got to like beat himself up over a mistake not walking her home that he made when he was like 15 or something like that. You know, like that sucks so bad forever. Dude, I did so much dumb shit. And imagine if any of it resulted in like the death of one of my friends or something. Like that's
for sure. The guilt must be so fucking horrendous. Like I can't imagine having to live with that for your whole life, especially since people are still dicks about it. And just your own personal guilt about not walking her home when you probably could have just saved her life that day or prevented her from going to Botswana. You know?
Or to play devil's advocate on that, also gotten murdered.
Or you could have been even worse.
Who knows if it was like that car, like you said, of people.
Guys that
like
pulled up to that other girl.
Yeah. Who knows?
For sure. Celine, on the other hand, doesn't blame Neil or any of the kids that were there that night.
That's good.
The other three boys, they also say that that's why they moved away. Well, it's New Liskeard, so they probably moved away for other reasons too. But they also like try to leave that behind them because it also affects them because they could have helped walk her home too, right? So they all have trauma from this, which is super sad, but people still accuse them, which is sad too.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's really a great theory that they did it at all. I think it's pretty much like beating a dead horse. So if you guys live in New Liskeard and you're listening to this, just leave the fucking people alone. Just let them live. They didn't do it. Shit. I know they didn't do shit.
Yeah. If they did it, they wouldn't have fucking stuck around, dude.
For
sure.
They
did it. They wouldn't. What kind of psychopath would you have to be to do something like that in a small town and just like drive by it every day? Like, you know, just like, woo, there she is.
Hey,
woo!
Mel.
No one's fucking doing that.
Ugh.
Yeah. Despicable
for sure. The next theory is sex trafficking. This theory goes that she was picked up off the side of the highway and taken into sex trafficking. New Liskeard also sits nestled beside the Trans-Canada Highway. So the Trans-Canada Highway runs through 10 provinces. It's 7,476 kilometers long or 4,645 miles long. Truckers or whoever else could have just taken her. And by the time anyone noticed she was missing, they could have been close to 1,000 kilometers away. The one problem with this theory is that the highway passes by the edge of town. Where she was last seen wasn't on the Trans-Canada Highway. It was like in town over the bridge, the Armstrong Bridge. So it's kind of far from the actual highway itself. And it would be kind of weird to have like a trucker drive into town to like take her and then go back onto the highway, back onto the Trans-Canada. But like, it's not, maybe that could have happened. Like,
look at like Ted Bundy when he would be cruising for victims. Like he had all these receipts for like 35 cents, 50 cents, 60 cents, because he always made sure he had a full tank of gas because he was always just cruising around if he needed to get away from the cops. So who knows? If someone wanted to murder, they go to a different town, right? Because they don't want to fucking drive by that billboard every day once it's put up.
100%.
Like they're going to do it in a different place where they don't live.
Yeah, that really makes a lot of sense to me that it'd be sex trafficking because if anything, like maybe that guy, like what was his name, the psychic, Joe Jellytoe or whatever the fuck.
Bob Jellycurl.
Bob Jellycurl. He What if he thought he was buying a ghost vagina, but he just ended up buying her? And that's what he was talking into. That's why he had all the inside knowledge. He was asking her vagina questions.
Fair. That guy, just looking at that guy makes you think like what you're saying is not like super
Let's play the tape back and see if we can see like her knees on either side of the frame.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Never trust a guy with earrings. That's what you learn. from that fucking guy's video. Never.
Oh God, I have
Fair.
earrings. Okay.
He did it.
Yeah,
Richard did
back
it.
to me doing it again. Yeah, so they'd have to be going somewhere very specific, but you're right. Maybe there was someone just like wanted to pick up a girl and went into town and then knew he could get away quickly. For sure. I don't think I think it's a good as theory as any, honestly, on this one. That just someone took her to like, maybe she went to Botswana this time, but not fucking because she wanted to see her dad because she was forced into sex trafficking overseas. Not a thing that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
The next theory is not just a random sex trafficker; it's a drunk driver theory. So some people think that Mel could have been hit by a drunk driver, and her body was hidden by the drunk driver to protect themselves against getting in trouble. So bars in Ontario close at 2 a.m. Back in 1996, bars in Quebec would close at 3 a.m. The next town close by to New Liskeard towards the Quebec border is about a half-hour drive, and it's called Notre-Dame-du-Nord, Quebec. So some tips claim that there were guys leaving the local bars to run back to Quebec to get their last call. And according to one specific tip, one of the patrons leaving to go to Quebec had just gotten out of jail and was driving on a suspended license. The theory goes that this guy goes and he smokes Melanie as she's walking home, and he kills her, and he stops, sees the dead girl, and like panics because he's just going to go to jail again. So then he loads her in the back of his trunk and buries her at a place that they called Dawson's Point, which is nearby on the lake. Police actually ran down this lead and went and searched around Dawson's Point. Didn't find anything. But like a drunk driver, like I was saying earlier, there's lots of big open holes where people used to mine that instead of just burying her at that Dawson's Point, he could have just been, fuck it, I'm going to throw her down an old mine shaft I know exists, and that'll be the end of her.
Yeah, that seems likely, and I mean that part's not funny, but the concept of people like rushing over like geographical lines, they can go and get wasted for 1 extra hour.
Yeah,
but then also it's a half hour to get there. That fucking rocks. Like they just barely get in, like what 20 minutes of drinking by the time they get in and order, like just to drive even more drunk, even further back, like.
The other thing that's like kind of interesting to this that makes sense, because I was thinking that too, is like, why the fuck would you drive a half hour just to get another half hour drinking? Alcoholism, one reason. But Notre-Dame-du-Nord is like a 700 person town, but it has a strip club.
There you go.
These guys,
Listen, a 700 person town has a strip. That means you know fucking everybody in there.
Yeah,
you've personally met. Like, it, God forbid you're the teacher, and then just your whole graduating class is there. All of the girls, just
for sure. And but like, okay, the thing about Quebec, especially back then, especially where I'm from, there's like a bunch of little towns, same kind of thing what I am. We're in the same geographic area where it's like 2 or 3 hours away. But like they all had little strip clubs. So I'm guessing they all just like would go from town to town, like a little tour.
I think it's like a little tour. Yeah.
Does Canada
like
do you
amateur
guys,
strippers?
do you have titties and booze? We
Oh,
only
yeah.
do one or the other here.
We get pussy, dude. We get like everything.
Straight up pussy.
Yeah, I mean, you
full
can't
nude.
like, you're not like supposed to. It happens, but like,
How much
yeah,
money
no,
you
they
got?
have to like wear pasties or whatever if they serve booze.
When I was
Wow.
18, I got a fake ID and went to the strip club with my friends. And the lady noticed we were like, this was in Timmins. Like, this is when I was in a good strip club. And she knew we were all underage, but didn't give a fuck. And she's like, come have a private dance. So I went and did a private dance with her. She's like, I'm going to do something that's going to blow your mind. And I was like, cool, man. Let's blow my mind. That's wicked. She had like a stool in there and she put one leg up on the stool. And I forget what song was playing. I wish I could remember the part of the song. But to the beat of the song, she like flapped her vagina to me. And I was like, that does blow my mind. Thank you for that. To the beat of the song, like,
dude.
How cool would it be though if like she just showed you like a card trick, like and you and your buddies were like, oh, that is my card.
She's a magician. Oh, I got it. She's like, I got a spirit box, and just go bam, burp, bam, burp. I'm like, oh, that did blow my mind. She's like, I talked to the dead with my pussy. Anyway, so I don't know. Drunk driver and the sex trafficking thing, they're like in the same line with me. Like, they're likely. I don't know if doesn't seem likely once you hear more information, but like I could see why you'd run down those leads. Let's say that.
It is such a hard case because it's so close to that highway. Like, yeah, the population is 4,500, but what is like the actual population of people who like passed through on any given day.
I don't know the number to that, but I'm going to say it's probably like tens of thousands a month pass through there,
so many people.
Yeah, because like all that connects all of Canada, so like you're traveling goods from one end to the other, guy passing every hour or whatever in a big transport. I don't know, it's probably 10,000 people pass there a month would be my guess.
I read a book about how London, Ontario was once like the serial killer capital of the world from like the mid 50s to like the mid 70s, and a lot of like the hypothesis is because it was like it's a point when a bunch of different highways reach, like the 400 and the 401, like all this stuff reaches there. So since it's like a hub of a city, and this was before like police departments spoke to each other about stuff, you could like easily get from one small hamlet to another, commit a crime, and get back to your hamlet, and the police forces would never even communicate.
That's only recent, like within the past 15-20 years, where cops like shared information. Like you go to one town or the other, they all have different. It's fucking crazy.
It's so bad with the normal police.
2008?
Yeah, it wouldn't be. Some places
they weren't sharing information.
2007, no, they said nothing to each other. No,
it's not what I mean. But I'm just saying they don't have like a big database where you can just pull up John Smith's file from BC in Ontario. That didn't exist. That's
also the fighting between local police and the OPP as well. Like I heard, like, say if you're in London, Ontario, you're on a bridge in London and you jump off the bridge to kill yourself onto like an Ontario highway, the police and the OPP will argue over like, well, he jumped from a London bridge, so it's a London police have to do it. And they're like, well, he landed on the highway, so the OPP have to investigate.
What does that have to do with other people's pussy?
It has everything to do. I don't know.
I don't know what doesn't have to do with pussy, but you tell me.
Look, I'm not the one who keeps bringing it up.
Yeah, you are.
The next one kind of goes along lines with the rest of them. It's just a stranger that doesn't have anything to do with the town. It's just somebody who saw an opportunity to like murder someone, like from one of the weddings or something.
Yeah.
And then just like kidnap her and just fucking take her away.
Hey, 3 weddings and a funeral? Huh?
I don't remember that movie.
But like, because there's 3 weddings and then this girl maybe died. I don't know. It was a pretty bad joke. You're right.
3 weddings and a disappearance. Yeah, okay, I got you.
Yeah, there we go. That makes more sense.
Yeah, they were saying that there's 2 cops patrolling that night because it was a busy night. Usually they only have one. And police said and nothing seemed out of place. Nothing seemed suspicious. Here's the theory about the stranger, though. It's basically what they're saying is that it's American, and Americans up here did it because Americans will come up here to hunt and
people.
Immigrants.
Just moose, but yes, immigrants for sure. And they come up, they go to a lodge or whatever, and then you could just go like hunt a big moose, and then you go back home. So they think like some American just decided like we're gonna kill some lady and then go back to our city in Syracuse and pretend everybody else did it. Meanwhile, I did it.
Yeah, Syracuse is a good hideaway after you kill a young girl city. I would argue. But I don't have any like statistics, but I mean,
you saw it on a BuzzFeed list. 7 cities to go to evade capture after a murder.
I mean, you probably get caught, but there's other amenities here that I think suit, post girl murdering activities.
I like that there's so little information, so people just make up shit. Like this American thing that's like impossible. It's not even hunting season at the time. It's like just small game, and like there was no Americans at any lodges. But like that was a theory that went around town for probably a year, probably 2. Like an American did it. I just love that shit.
It also, I can see why that theory would gain popularity because it would make you feel a lot better in your community to blame an outsider as opposed to someone who walks among you, because that would make you feel a lot better than the guy who works at the fucking supermarket did it.
Well, that's absurd because the guy who did it was walking among them. That's how he did it.
That's how he got him for that moment. Yeah.
Yeah, so you're never safe.
It's true.
Be paranoid. Everyone, be paranoid.
That's the lesson. And pay your phone bill. That's the other hidden lesson.
That's a huge one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The stranger thing goes in with the suspicious like car that I was talking about too. There's actually 2 different people that reported seeing a suspicious vehicle. One was her friend Samia Ben Shabi, who had briefly walked with the group the night Mel had went missing. After the kids were rejected from watching sudden death at Mel's house, the kids went for a walk. They met Samia, and she offered to let her friends watch the movie at her house, but her parents said no. So they just went for a walk instead. That's why they didn't end up watching the movie till about 10 p.m. And they separated around 10 when Samia had to be home. And that's when they go to Chatwin's house. Samia said she brought her dog with her for the walk. And when they separated, there was an old unkept white van that came up to her and started asking her directions to a street she didn't recognize in town. Like there's no whatever, like Pioneer Street or whatever. I don't know what this fucking guy's, but the dog started like growling and barking at these guys. And the guys kind of just like left after that. And she described them as in their 30s or 40s. And both were, what did she say? Country people. Which I find funny because you're a country person. Well, you live in New Liskeard. It's a country town.
How kind of these people like country bumpkins? Like, were they wearing barrels with like overall suspenders?
She said they were wearing wife beaters, wife beater shirts,
and
that they were gross. I don't know. I find that funny that she called them country people. And then the guys drove off. The same men were seen earlier that day at the video rental place, actually. Apparently, he was in the video rental store when Mel and her friends were there, and he had actually paid for their movie. And then the guy apparently came back to the rental store around 10:30 and just like loitered around the store before leaving. And the girl that was at the counter was scared of these guys, and she called her father for a ride home at 11 when the store closed.
Wait, so has that been corroborated? Like they did have the movie paid for them by some like stranger at the.
I don't know all the details because this witness wasn't even questioned until 2020. So this chick that worked at the video store is now in her 40s.
Yeah,
getting questioned.
This happened a lifetime ago.
Exactly. So it's like, how do you even like?
She's had a lifetime to tell herself what happened that night, right? And to like paint a whole,
Yep. Or just
I trust her story to be 100% rock solid because you don't remember anything quite like you remember working a shitty retail job when you're young. That shit is seared into your dreams.
To your bones,
you wake up in cold sweats, reliving those moments.
Hearing the beep still.
Yeah, dude. I had a lady when I worked at the movies call me retarded because she didn't have the right coupon. On a free popcorn, it was a free drink. And she said,
that sounds
retarded.
Right.
Yeah. So
no, I can see her remembering enough, but like not like it's better to talk to someone the next day, not 25 years later or whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So yeah, she wasn't questioned. So we don't really have lots of info because cops, like I said, aren't releasing super lots of information. Maybe they could corroborate what she said with other things, but they're not telling anybody anything. Just very few things.
It's because they got it in the bag. That lady, she knew everything. She cracked it open.
Maybe.
I don't know, man. I remember the color of that lady's shirt who called me the R word. So.
It's just memory's so fickle too. Like, do you actually remember the color or do you think you remember the color?
Yeah, how can you trust yourself? You're an R word. You didn't even take that.
Well, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
Police actually did say that in a 2020 interview that they don't think that the car that her friend saw when she was walking home or Samia's car are involved in the disappearance of Mel. That's all they'll comment though. So I don't know what that means. I don't know if they got some sort of information that discounts it or what the thing they found, the rumored thing they found discounts that. I don't know. The next theory is a good one. You guys are going to like it. It's that someone in the New Liskeard police did this because I always love police theories. Because it wouldn't surprise me.
And sometimes they turn out to be true.
Yeah.
A la the fucking Golden State Killer.
For sure. So. He was in there taking pictures with everyone being like, we're searching.
Yeah.
Framed.
Yeah.
Police are infallible. We all know this.
Fucking Americans, of course.
I know it's far-fetched, but some people question as to whether or not the cops were involved because of how poorly the investigation has gone. I'm not sure if the police are to blame here.
Imagine being so bad at your job, they're like, there has to be something nefarious here. You can't be this fucking stupid. You can't be this fucking stupid. But sometimes people are.
I just think it's stupidity, not complacency. Anyways,
so funny that you said stupidity and then struggled on a word.
Yeah. So yeah, cop maybe. I don't think so, but maybe. Another big theory is white supremacists did it.
So an American.
Those assholes, yeah. 1996, Melanie was one of the only 3 black girls in town. These hate groups were apparently present in 1990s New Liskeard. So much so that the other 2 black girls that were in town were placed under police surveillance immediately following Melanie's disappearance. The cops were like, uh-oh, they went and killed a minority. Let's go protect the other ones.
I bet you the police were probably surveilling them already, but they were officially surveilling them for their protection.
Yeah.
Well, it can't be that, because I mean, it's even like Doug just said, it had to be Americans, because there's no racism in Canada. Canada's never done anything remotely racist, so it can't be.
Especially, we didn't have these horrible schools still open in 1996 that
we were helping.
Abysmal.
Yeah, couldn't possibly be white supremacists.
Maybe those 2 things are
rural
connected.
Canada.
As soon as they closed the last residential school, Mel goes missing. I'm just saying.
Yeah, because all those priests were mad they couldn't abuse the kids at the schools anymore.
Yeah,
Like,
so
got
they
a
went
lot
and
of
got
anger
Mel.
they had to get out.
See, that's funny, because maybe, if anything, America's less racist, because we don't discriminate on who gets molested. White kids are sometimes almost preferable depending on the molester. So
that's true.
Yeah.
Land of the free.
You're an all-inclusive, terrible country.
Child
You're
sex
terrible
abuse
to everyone.
territory. Yeah.
Multicultural, all-inclusive rapists. That's good. That's good. Okay, so those are like the little piddly theories that are here. There's some pretty bigger ones that actually kind of blow my mind a little bit here. So theory number whatever, connected to another couple murders around the same time. So in April 1996, 47-year-old Louis Gauthier had been murdered in the nearby town of Thornlow. He was murdered by 2 teenagers, had their half-brothers named Michael Lafreniere and Robert Goulet.
What?
Yeah. Not
Shut
that
the
Goulet.
fuck up.
Not that Goulet. Goulet.
I knew it.
Plot thickens. That's where they'd end the episode if this was like a limited Netflix series.
Yeah.
They'd be like, and Robert Goulet credits. Like, oh my, I have to watch the next episode.
Goulet. Not that Goulet. Their uncle, these 2 half-brothers' uncle, guy named Gregory Crick, had helped the teens plan the attack. So Lafreniere, he was a 17-year-old kid, had been having sex with the 47-year-old Louis Gauthier, and their uncle Gregory Crick didn't like that one bit. So Crick got Goulet and Lafreniere to kill him. So like, you're gonna fuck this guy, you gotta kill him now, because I don't want any gays in this household.
Does he think that makes you not gay if you kill the man you had gay sex with? You're not gay anymore.
I think that's the
it's like
is that in the Bible?
No. It's like how you cure vampirism or whatever. You got to go back.
Oh yeah, you take out the leader. You
Yeah.
put a stake through their heart.
Whoever turned the guy who turned you. So really, you don't have to kill the one that directly did it. If you go back 5 or 6, you can still have the same effect.
Someone just finds Richard Simmons and they just plunge a stake in his heart, and just a bunch of gay people disappear.
Yep.
Like, oh my god, wow.
Oh my god. Okay.
They call them progenitors.
So yeah, that they kill that guy. Nobody really knows who did it. So they're investigating. Cops are investigating. Then a couple months later, on November 8th, Robert Goulet goes missing. Now the cops are still trying to figure out who killed Louis Gauthier, and now they think Robert Goulet is another missing teen.
I'm sorry, but it sucks that you go missing and something bad could have happened to you, and people are for sure just like Robert Goulet, laughing about your name. For sure, they're making that joke.
I hope people my name's Richard Stoodle. I really hope I get murdered and people do that.
I still think it's actually Robert Goulet. So
Goulet.
Yeah, he didn't. He didn't die until 2007. Who's to say he couldn't?
Robert Goulet and Melanie, they disappeared to Botswana together. That's how she got there. An accomplice. Boom. Solved.
Before I continue, I'll just do one thing real quick here.
Papa, I like it when you call me Big Papa. Throw your hands in the air if you think you're a player, Papa. I love it when you call me Big Papa. To the honeys, getting money, play niggas just like dummies. Papa.
I just wanted to point out how racist Robert Goulet was. So
Yeah, definitely not the hypocritical Saturday Night Live.
I was gonna ask, what do you think was the last SNL sketch that she watched? Because you said that she like watched like
that's
the
a good
last
question.
sketch at SNL. Like, do you think it was a good one, or do you think it was like a shit one?
in 1996, I bet you it was good. 96
Yeah,
was good
Adam
years.
Sandler, Farley.
What do you think was the last SNL sketch that Boldface said the N-word?
Yeah.
I think it might have been that one.
Yeah, that was probably the one.
That might be it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not that Goulet, but anyways, November 8th, Goulet goes missing. He's 17 years old. Cops are already still trying to figure out who killed Louis Gauthier. Plus, they already have Mel missing, and then another kid goes missing, which is like, now they're like, oh, is there like a fucking kid serial killer or something going on in town? Because that's kind of crazy. Turns out the cops didn't really have to do that much investigation to figure out where the fuck Goulet happened. Goulet actually went to the police and told them about the murder of Gauthier and how he, Crick, and his other Lafreniere friend, they actually stabbed him to death and tried to cover up his crime. So they actually brought him to the body. They told him where the body was and everything. So Crick and Lafreniere figured out he was talking to the police and they just killed him. So in 98, they went and actually showed him where the bodies of Goulet and Gauthier were in like a quarry or something like that. What does this have to do with Melanie? Well, apparently another girl at a juvenile detention facility who was friends with Lafreniere said that he had admitted to her that he had killed Melanie. She told authorities that Lafreniere had a party in October where he admitted to killing her. And when he killed her, he had put her through a wood chipper to get rid of her body.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. The wood chipper thing's fine. Okay, so police put wiretaps on Crick Goulet and Lafreniere when they're investigating them for the murder of Gauthier. There's no evidence that these two crimes are connected anyway. The whole wood chipper thing is fucked because it's just a kid trying to be cool. But like that shit gets to the mom. Like Celine had to think my daughter went through a wood chipper at some point.
Yeah.
The movie Fargo had just come out not that long before. So it's like Lafreniere, that guy just trying to like mimic a cool scene he thought was in a movie. Like that's literally what he was doing. But Celine had to deal with like, my daughter's fucking mush. Like like it's a lot.
Yeah, that's fucked.
Yeah, I mean, it is a lot. But you know what else would be a lot to deal with? Having to clean that up.
Yeah, for sure. Unless you're out in the middle of the bush, then you just leave it for the wool.
That's the last thing you could put through that wood chipper for sure.
Yeah.
Right? They're not meant
I don't know,
for
like
that.
what if you put her through and then just like a really big bar of soap?
Yeah,
That might actually do it. That might do it.
I'd have the idea of like them putting her through the wood chipper and then going like, oh, we got to do something with this wood chipper. Let's just throw it down a mine shaft. Like, why don't we just throw the girl down the mine shaft?
And we put the wood chipper in a bigger wood chipper.
Yeah. You just got
chunks of metal shooting out.
Okay, so this is where the next theory. Okay, so that's that theory that they're connected in some way. I don't think Lafreniere had anything to do with Mel's, but here's where it gets crazy. The theory, because the next theory is mistaken identity, and they get a little wacky here. The theory, so it's kind of an addition to Louis Gauthier theory. Let's just say that Lafreniere and Goulet did kill Melanie. Why? Because they're racists. Earlier in 1996, Goulet and Lafreniere publicly accosted two black girls with racial slurs and threatened to shoot them. This girl's name is known in the media as Sarah or Sierra. It's two different. They're the same person, though. She's often said to look a lot like Ethier. Now, I don't know if it's just because of where I'm from and they think like all black people look alike, or if they actually look the same, because I went and looked them up. You can't find pictures of Sierra or Sarah. So I don't know if that's just like racist, the fact they look the same. But some of the stuff I read said that they have been mistaken for each other in the past, even by family members. Sarah would apparently buy drugs off of Lafreniere and Goulet, adding a motive to want to kill Sarah. So on September 27th, 1996, Sarah told her friends that she owed a bunch of money to some drug dealers. And she also told her friends that if she went missing over the weekend, not to be surprised. Later on in life, Sarah ends up moving to North Bay for the rest of her high school career, and she's now over in Vancouver. None of her family has any contact with her anymore, so no further questions can be asked to her. The last time anyone heard from Sarah was in 2020, and it was just a voicemail left to her mom. I guess she's a drug addict. I'm not sure. But Sarah and Melanie knew each other, being two of the three black girls in town, but they weren't friends or anything. Like, I think they went to different high schools. The third nameless other black girl in town did an interview regarding Mel's case. She said that she doubts that Melanie's case has anything to do with a spontaneous racially motivated hate crime. She didn't believe that the attack was random. This anonymous interviewee suggests that Melanie might have been a target from the brothers simply because of her owing money to them for drugs. What does this have to do with mistaken identity? Another one of Melanie's friends, David Bromley, did an interview with David Ridgen. I will talk about Ridgen in a bit, and said that Melanie and Sarah, while both black, didn't look alike. So he just called that racist in itself. And this girl, Sarah, being so in debt with this drug dealer that they want to kill her seems a little fucking wild to me. Like, this is a high school girl with high school drug dealers. Like, how much do they fucking owe to like kill this girl?
We all know what got her clipped. She was caught talking about how much she didn't like crooning.
Crooning?
Yeah. She's not a big fan.
Goulet was like,
so
not on my watch.
Goulet was like, yep, this bitch is fucking done.
The mistaken identity thing, though, just gets even weirder because maybe Melanie wasn't mistaken for another black girl in town. Maybe she was mistaken for another teenager named Melanie Ethier that also lived in New Liskeard at the time. Seriously, they had another girl with the same name. She was just a year older than Mel. They went to a different high school. Our Melanie is Melanie Nadia Ethier, and the other one is the older one's Melanie Louise Ethier. By the time of the disappearance, police told Melanie Louise that she may have been the intended target.
Just so she could never fucking sleep at night again? Yeah. Just to be fucking mean, I guess. Hey, it could have been you! Oh,
it was supposed to be you.
Anyways, good night.
Yeah, they say that one of her friends had been dating Lafreniere, and the police thought that maybe the girlfriend knew too much about his drug business, so that's why he killed her, because he was already under scrutiny for police were already watching him. So Melanie Louise's mother was cousins with Louis Gauthier. She was like connected to the first guy that was murdered, and the guy Lafreniere, like the guy that Lafreniere, Crick, and Goulet killed. So maybe they wanted to kill Melanie Ethier to like shut her up because she knew too much. The problem is that Melanie Louise was different. She's completely different height, build, and white. So how do you mistake that person? So they think that
because you think you don't have to mention it in New Liskeard. If I'm like, hey, I need you to go kill this person, they're 5'5", 120 pounds. They just assume white because there's three people who aren't.
Exactly.
So they just assume they don't have to mention it.
Probably exactly what you said. They hired someone they didn't know there's a black girl named Melanie Ethier too, so they just killed the first Mel Ethier they could find. Melanie Louise says that the last time she saw Lafreniere, he was in a park near her home. He was anxious and kept saying that someone was watching him, which the cops were actually following him because he did actually murder a fucking guy. And he asks her if she thought that he was involved in the murder of Gauthier, which she told him, no, I don't think you killed Louis at all. Why would you kill that guy? No way. Later interviews, she does say that she thought he was involved in not only Gauthier's murder, but also the disappearance of the other Mel Ethier. Police also have gone on the record and saying that they don't think Melanie was attacked because of mistaken identity, but that was a theory early on for them. But that's fucking wild that everyone's like connected. There's another Mel Ethier. They fucking thought it was that, or like the other black girl who looked like her. Oh my God.
I think it is just like a case of mistaken identity, unfortunately. And I think it's like mistaken identity due to like the racism of like these two shitty dudes who are just like, they see a black girl late at night and they're like, hey, look how fucking easy our job just got. We just have to take this one,
It definitely could be. I'm on the last theory here. This is the one I'm more leaning towards. I don't remember if you guys remember at the beginning of the story, I told you about Melanie visiting Sylvie Chartrand the morning of her disappearance. Her mom's friend who had a kid, her friend.
That's tough. I don't even remember the middle of the story.
Well, Sylvie and Celine were best friends growing up. They had kids the same age. They're all best friends. Those people. Well, her husband or partner or whatever, his name's Dennis Lavallee. Like, also off the top, I said that the Ethiers would visit there all the time. Okay, let's talk about Dennis Lavallee a bit because this is the theory that he did it. He's 5'8", 5'9", weighing about 280 pounds. So
big boy
for sure. Yeah. According to Sylvie, as a kid, this is her like this. Okay, so let me start here. I listened to a lot of podcasts. One of them I listen to is called Someone Knows Something with David Ridgen. He's a Canadian podcaster. He's a phenomenal podcaster. During the pandemic, he had to like stop doing his normal podcast because he couldn't go visit people. So he did another podcast called The Next Call, where he investigates Mel's disappearance just by through phone calls. So he talks to a lot of people. He talks to Sylvie, and Sylvie's like, she describes Dennis to him, and she says that he was sexually abused by his babysitter, and he was physically abused by his father, and his parents were garbage people who like drank all the time and neglected or beat their kids instead of actually like spending time with them. So she's like giving him a weird excuse for being a piece of shit right off the bat. This is how she starts it. So cool, I guess. Lots of people are abused and they don't turn out to be pieces of like shit, but this guy here is a piece of shit. So he was a diamond driller, which these are the people that I deal with all the time, drilling core to for geologists. When I was in high school, if someone dropped out of high school, it was like crazy to me. It wasn't crazy the person dropped out. They were dumb. It was more crazy that I didn't at least like they didn't at least attempt to just get through high school. Like just get through. You can get through high school, just pass. Why can't that's crazy to me. Well, when I got older, I found out that those guys that dropped out of high school became diamond drillers. You know, that's how smart these guys are. I'm just kidding, drillers. I love you. If you're listening to this, I love you. Guys are great.
Don't murder Richard. He loves you.
Don't stop drilling them, baby.
They're gonna. That's all I have to do, though. I just have to say, "Oh, I'm just joking," and they're gonna believe that. That's how dumb they are. Drillers have an interesting job where sometimes you can travel the world being a driller, because especially where I'm from, it's like a mining community, and we have a lot of experienced drillers. So if you come here and you want to travel to like I don't know, fuck wherever to drill. These companies that are up here get hired to go everywhere. Africa, fucking Northwest Territories, Mongolia, fucking Chile, all over the place. I've heard of these guys going all over the place. So he was one of these guys. He's one of the guys that traveled all over the place. So he would be gone for weeks or months at a time. Like I said, this is normal for people up here. Sylvie didn't care that he was gone all the time. She said she liked her alone time. And they had like a decent life. And then on June 17th, 1990, Lavallee was in a head-on collision with a woman who was drinking and driving. And this is her second excuse for this guy being kind of like a piece of shit. She said that after this, he was always in pain. He had like a back pain, prescribed oxys. So he's always popping pills. Unfortunately, that's just what happened to him. He sued the lady. He got a $600,000 settlement because like working a diamond drill it's a heavy job. And if you got back problems, it's probably hard to do. Like, unless you're in charge, doing the actual work is physical labor. So he got 600K, not being able to drill anymore. He took that 600K and started up a business, which tanked, failed a couple years later. So
what kind of business?
They don't say. I'm trying to figure that out. I'm guessing it has something to do with drilling because that's all he knows.
Yeah.
But it fucking tanked anyway, regardless. So a couple more years, he just like had to go back drilling because that's all he knows, right? He went to Mongolia at a certain point after that, and he ran out of his oxys. So he starts doing cocaine a lot. Then he starts moving into crack, whatever he can get his hands on, laying the foundation for this guy. He's a fucking drug addict, basically. Not home a lot of the time. And so let's go back to this morning when Mel was visiting Sylvie. So Lavallee and her son, Jason, weren't there. They said they were out fishing. Jason was out fishing with Dennis, Jason, his friend Joel, and Lavallee's brother, Andre, all four of them. That's what he told his wife, Sylvie. They were all out fishing. Lavallee got home from his fishing trip on the afternoon of September 29th, hours after Melanie had been missing. After hearing the news, Lavallee immediately went to help the police in the search for Mel. The day after Mel was reported missing, Lavallee went to Ethier's house, straight to their basement for some reason. It's just weird that he went there. The grandmother was there, and he just barged in the house. He went to the basement and just started smoking cigarettes. And she was like, no, he never came over. He didn't just smoke cigarettes. It's really weird that he came over. And he was just chit-chatting, and he finishes his like 2 smokes and then just leaves. She's like, that was fucking weird. A couple days after that, Lavallee saw the grandmother again. So like on the Wednesday, as they're talking about where Mel could be, Lavallee told the grandmother that whoever took Mel would be messed up because she had those fucking long ass nails and she was strong. And then to prove his claim, he shows the grandmother some cuts that he had on his left arm, and they were like fresh. He said they got them from play fighting with Mel a couple days before. a couple days before he was gone fishing, he wouldn't have really had a chance to see Mel like the weekend prior, maybe, but she said the wounds were way too fresh to be like a week old scabs, week and a half old scabs.
Oh, okay. So you know what? What's her last name again?
Ethier?
Yeah, that sounds vaguely close to X-Men. So, I think we know Wolverine is supposedly Canadian. I don't always believe that, but I don't know, dude. Maybe
This guy's the opposite of Wolverine. He just like can't heal.
No. Maybe Melanie's Wolverine, dude. Maybe she's not dead because she just healed or something.
That's fair. That's interesting line of thought.
You said she's got claws?
Maybe this guy's just a type 2 diabetic. His wounds don't fucking heal. He's 280 pounds. He's like 5'8".
They just don't heal properly.
Yeah. But like, I think he fucking did it. It's one of those like, that's his immediate cover, right? It would be like something like this. It would look exactly like this, the kind of fight she'd put up.
Yeah, exactly.
This is her just playing around.
It's so weird that he said that. Like, why would you even? He showed it to her too, though. Which you find it fucking weird, but not smart driller. Remember that diamond driller.
Yeah.
Not smart. In the later years, he told many people this story. He told lots of people he got these scratches from Mel wrestling with her. Except once he changed the story when he talked to his scratched up arm to a neighbor. Jocelyn Martel says that he told her the scratches were from being in the bush looking for Mel. He's like, look at all these scratches I got on my arms from out being looking for Mel. The scratches weren't known to the police until years later when they told like these people were interviewed like in the 2010s.
Yeah.
But Celine knew about the scratches because her mom saw them and she was super suspicious of Dennis, but like Sylvia's her best friend from a kid and like she can't be with that kind of guy. He tells Celine something fucked even after that. He tells her that Mel had been a stripper in Notre Dame de Nord. He literally says that to his mom. He's like, she's 15 years old. He's like, you got to watch her. She's been a stripper. Maybe she got caught by one of her clients stripping. And she's like, no, she's 15 years old. She's not a stripper. I see her all the time. I know where she is most days, except for now. But most days I know where she is.
Mm.
She did run down this lead later in life, and there was a black girl stripping at Notre Dame, but it wasn't Mel. Didn't even really look like her. So, and then once people started asking questions to Dennis, they found out that he'd lied about going fishing that weekend. It turns out that they went towards Aurelia, I guess. They're not really sure exactly. We're somewhere down further south to a motocross race, and it was a day trip. It was like it wasn't a fishing weekend. It was like go to Aurelia for a couple hours, watch some motocross, and come home that night. So he was only gone the one day. So where did he go for the night? Because they thought it was an overnight trip. The police never ever questioned Lavallee, but they say they looked into him. But I don't know what that means. Over the years since his accident, Lavallee gets worse and worse into the drugs, and he starts to be more and more open with his other vices, which is young girls
and murder.
Murder. He had a daughter named Stephanie, a young girl daughter, and at one point he tries to bang one of his daughter's friends. Like they'd have parties at his house or wherever, and he'd be like literally standing around there and be like, I'll give you a ride home, little girl. And then they'd be like, get to the end of the driveway, and they do the literal thing from like what's that fucking Tarantino movie with where Drive one, the one with the fucking stunt driver where he just gets the wrong, he's like, you turned the wrong way, and he's like, yeah, I know I turned the wrong way, and go the wrong opposite way.
Yeah.
And then Mel's sister also says that Dennis tried to fuck her 10 years after Mel's disappearance when she was 15. He tells Jesse that his mom needs her to come do like a cleaning job, go to her house and like clean out a bunch of shit. So he said, okay, I'll come pick you up, and then she's going to pay you whatever X amount of dollars. So he picks her up at home, but instead of driving her to his mom's house, he brings her to a secluded motel. And it's like in the opposite direction of the job. Jesse knew she was in trouble right away. He goes into the hotel. He's like, I just came here because I got to drop some stuff off. We'll go to my mom's in a bit. I'm staying here tonight. She's like, okay. He already had a room. He didn't have to go get a room. He says, why don't you just come in for a second while I like get my stuff? Like, she goes, okay, I guess. So she goes in. The moment she's in that hotel room, Lavallee locks the door behind her, and then he gets naked and he tells her I want to eat you out. Like, first thing, gets naked and says, I'm going to eat your pussy.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Turns out there's no cleaning job, just a creepy hotel room.
Yeah.
The whole time it was, I guess this was in 2006. She had like a flip phone. She had a cell phone because her mom was paranoid about missing kids now. So she's texting her boyfriend the whole time. He's like, I know where I'm here. If I don't come back tonight, you know where I am. He kept her in that hotel room for 4 hours, just being naked and being creepy. Another assault that he did is one of his daughter's friends when she was sleeping at his house. I guess he went like molested her while she's sleeping, and he ends up going to jail for this. Only a couple months. This is 2013 when this happened.
Couple months. Ugh.
Yeah, so
that's crazy.
Sylvie says she never knew he was doing any of the sexual advances towards the underagers, like his wife or his partner or whatever. But like, come on, I'm sorry. That's like, you understood he was degrading.
You got fucking blinders on.
There's a certain point. I believe some people don't see shit going on, but like, I don't know about this guy. This guy's just not smart enough to be hiding it all. Like, he's always going to a hotel room fucking weirdly. Like, come on, man. There's something weird's going on here.
Yeah.
He went to jail for it. You didn't notice then? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, like, good God.
You just didn't ask him why he went to jail? Anyways, she did notice a change that started after the accident. 6 women have come forward saying Dennis had assaulted them somehow since then. One of those incidents happened in the 80s before his accident and before Mel disappeared. So I think he always had that dog in him, Ricky.
Yeah.
I don't think that was because of the head accident.
Yeah, he always had that motherfucking dog in him.
He always had that motherfucking dog in him.
Mm-hmm.
Dennis went to jail 3 separate occasions. 2006 for failing to comply. 2012 for making death threats and committing assault with a vehicle. So he like ran into someone. And then 2013 sexual interference with a minor while she was sleeping. While he's in jail in 2013, Celine really suspects him now because she heard about the scratch on the arm. So she goes to confront him directly. Did you do anything to Mel? He tells her that he could never hurt Mel. And he regurgitates the Goulet murdered her story. When he's released, Celine tries to confront him again. And he agrees. He's like, I will talk to you about Mel. Levelay's nervous about this meeting. He actually speaks with his daughter the evening of the day that he made an arrangement to speak with Celine, Stephanie. And she's saying that she's like hanging out with them and smoking cigarettes. And during their chat, he keeps saying that he has to talk to Celine and the police. And he's super nervous about it. And he never really says why. And Stephanie keeps going like, I'm sure nothing's wrong. Like, you just got to talk to, she just wants to talk to you. You didn't do anything. So don't worry about it. So Stephanie like left him when he was all nervous. She had to go to the dentist or whatever. She said, everything's going to be okay. 4 hours later, and about an hour before his meeting with Celine, Lavallee has a stroke and he's in the hospital and he's nonverbal. Damn. So Jesus. Celine still goes and visits him and says like, hey, do you know anything about Melanie? He just keeps saying envoy, envoy, envoy. It's like French for like come here, or whatever, go away or whatever. Envoy, envoy. He just kept saying that. He wasn't speaking. And so they're hoping for a recovery on this guy. And then a couple weeks later, he dies, never letting anybody know anything.
And he's too stupid to have written it down in a journal because he's a diamond driller or whatever, right? So
yeah.
There's no hopes of that.
Yeah. So apparently he did tell a couple people that he actually did commit the crime in 2013. And he was visiting some old friends who remained anonymous for this interview. Apparently he worked for them at some point. They own like a big fucking property, like a quarry and stuff like that. I guess he was loading, I don't know. He worked for them at a certain point. And he goes to their house, gets all fucked up. They like to drink with this guy, but he's like falling down the crack cocaine like the real drug fucking thing. And they didn't like it. He was just doing crack right in front of them. And while he's on crack, he's like, they'll never find her body. I killed Mel. And I don't know, they have a huge property. And he says like she's buried here on the property somewhere. They'll never find them is actually what he says, meaning like, did he kill somebody else?
Jesus.
So this is David Ridgen on his show interviews these people for the first time. Nobody's ever interviewed these two people about this. And he is known for like going all out and getting search dogs and excavations shit. So he actually did a search in 2021, I guess, of this property. And I didn't hear anything of it. So I'm guessing he never found anything on that property. Yeah, so I think Lavallee's good for this. Probably stopped when he saw her walking on the road. Got his little raper eyes out. Like he was always like that. Mel fought back. Either accidentally killed her by hitting her or she choked her out or whatever. Then hid the body. And he, like I said, he's a driller, so he probably knew where a bunch of holes were to stuff the body, and no one ever caught him for it. And like I said earlier in the episode, when I said if the cops just would have asked everyone, they probably would have figured it out. But they would have seen the scratches on the arm and been like, hey, so that's what I think. There's no guarantee.
There should be a rule. If your town's like under a certain population, we just fucking, something horrific happens, we just talk to everybody. We figure it out.
Yeah, it's true. It can't be that hard. Honestly, you're right. Especially this day and age, you could just Zoom call everyone. Like, fuck.
Yeah, make it before everyone fucking logs into Facebook. They have to like fucking go on webcam and like, have some expert there. They can figure it out.
Agreed. Any other crazy theories? I bet you there's a Robert Goulet theory, and Ricky's got a theory that involves multiple dimensions. There's my guesses.
No, I was gonna say there's really not a whole lot more. There's not really anything interesting about this one. There's not a whole lot of evidence. There's kind of just someone went missing. So that's what I put together.
Incredible way to wrap it up.
That
was uninteresting.
That was boring.
I mean, am I wrong? There's really not a lot here. I mean, I could say the same theories that you already said, but there's not anything that's just like, yeah.
Well, nobody wants to hear my
I'd love to hear your theory.
SCA theory then, I guess. So,
no, I definitely want to hear it.
There's nothing to it. There's no.
Let's hear it.
Come on. Don't be like that.
I'd already said that she's more than likely Wolverine, and nobody wanted to bite. So,
well, let's play your game. How is she Wolverine? Because she has claws.
Yeah, dude.
And she's
what
not
else?
dead.
What other qualifiers do you need to be Wolverine?
I don't know, dude.
That's one of the fucking defining
Sideburns?
features.
Sideburns?
Yeah, she probably had that too. I feel like, because it's the thing. All right, we talked about how racist people in Canada are, right? I think that they just overlook, who they deem to be black people, and if they thought, someone told them that, hey, this is a young black girl, they're like, all right, we're not going to look too hard at her ever, and ignore the fact that it's like a 6'2" jacked white guy, and literally Hugh Jackman.
A huge Jackman, yeah.
Yeah.
So she's a huge jacked man. I'm going with that. Is that the solve we're given to Doug? I think she was Wolverine. She's not dead.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it probably rocks. Like, Wolverine's just undercover. You know how many different lives that thing's lived?
Honestly, like I said, I was just running over as soon as I heard about this missing persons case, so I don't really have much of a dog in this race. So that works for me.
That's good.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go weapon SCA. That's what I'm.
That'll be $3,000. So thank you for coming in as a client, and I'll send you the bill.
Thank you so much. Time for me to disappear before I pay that bill. Huh?
No, we'll find you.
You'll never see me again. Off to Botswana I go with my $3,000 with my steel drum. I mean, not really. No, just listen to Best Worst Friends. Oh, also, I have an album out. You could plug that. That'd be cool. It's called Let Himself Go. It's my stand-up album. Available on Spotify.
I just watched Private Dicks, and I think RJ's the funniest.
What? Come on.